All right, so one of the big keys when we start looking at trying to address patients who have low back pain is making sure that we are using our legs and our hips for as much as possible when we're doing things like lifting. One of the best drills for us to start training that is our sit to stand. I'm gonna have you scoot forward just a little bit. There are a couple of key principles here. When we start looking at this, I want the biggest thing is the feet need to be just behind the knees. That way, as when we rock forward, our weight actually gets over top of our feet rather than staying behind our feet. Because what we're trying to do is we're trying to shift our weight from the hip onto the foot as we transition up. The next thing is we're gonna go rocking straight forward. I want it to be right here from the hips. Very good. She does a very good job of this. She's been practicing this for a while. Let's go ahead, show what it looks like if you kind of slouch and flex as you bend forward. So we look at that. That is more of that compression on that front side of the low back, front side of the belly. Or on contrast, some people will shoot their ribs forward and really extend as they go forward. And then that's a ton of extension on the back. What we want is staying nice and stacked between the rib cage and pelvis and getting more of a rotation of the pelvis moving on top of the hip. So let's just go hands on your hips right here. Good. Rock forward. As you rock forward, you should feel like there's more weight on your guts. Get a nice breath through the nose. Expand into the hands. Should feel all of that pressure building up and helping to support the front side of the spine. Now go ahead, push your feet into the ground to come up nice and easy. So as we're doing that, you should feel more of that effort through the foot, through the legs, through the hips, and you should feel like all of that is pushing you up. You should not feel like your back is pulling you up out of that position. Now when we go to looking at something like lifting, here we're just going to use a kettlebell. I want to make sure that we abide by some of these principles. So the first thing we do when we start to approach an object is I want your feet, the arch of the foot, to be right in line with the kettlebell. So it's really nice and easy here because the weight is very contained. Objects out in life aren't always that way, but the idea on this is we want the middle of the foot, the arch of the foot, and the center of mass of whatever you're lifting right in line. If the weight's way far out front, as it comes off the ground, it has to transition to your center of mass, and then that creates a ton of extra force and torque on the low back, which becomes very hard and challenging to manage those forces in the joint. So go ahead. I want to do basically the reverse of our sit to stand. So soften the knees. So you see how if we go legs straight, we just get really tight through the back of the legs and it's really hard to reach all the way down. We need a little bit of soft knee. Good. Now, as you come down, drop back into the hips. Good. So right here, one of the drills I really like to do in lifting is just get into that position, lengthen through the spine, lengthen through the fingers. Just stay here, breathe, and feel the breath pushing into the low back. Slowly build up the pressure, pushing into the ground, and come on up into standing. I said slowly. Come on down. Nice and easy here. Come on down. Slowly build up that pressure. I want you to feel like you're building up 5, 10, 15, 20, 25% effort all the way up to whatever you need to accomplish the task, but not going too fast and not building up more tension and more effort than what you really need to accomplish the task. Go ahead, come on down, nice and easy. So those are great ways for us to start working on a drill here, that sit to stand, learning how to move the pelvis over top of the legs, and then transitioning it into something that's a little bit more realistic and something that we can start actually building up some strength with as well. Give that a shot at home. Really start with that sit to stand and work into the objects around your house.